So let me do this thing. I created a test only assignment yesterday, made it to be due yesterday night, with the intent of doing this demo now. I actually made a submission to that test assessment yesterday as test student. So let me turn into a test student and kind of show you what that looks like. Let me try going to the home page. I might it's this one. It's not linked from anywhere in the modules, and although it appears on to the bar, hopefully people are ignoring it. I do have notes. Please don't complete. Now, if you completed it, I think I can delete this assignment, so I'll be deleting your record. So I yesterday, almost immediately after creating it, I made a submission as test student. And so I haven't graded it yet because that's the demo I want you to do here. And I can go back into MyOpenMath and MyOpenMath through Canvas and see my own submission. You can always see your own work. That's how everything's been set up. I'm taking a shortcut here, which technically is all fine. And as you're looking at it, you would see that the grade is currently hidden. This is a new setting that I'm trying out this semester. I think it'll actually improve the communication of this weekly problem set, question set assessment as I grade it. Because with the setting that I used to use, basically someone who got 10 out of 10, and as I graded it, I didn't see anything that needed a correction, so I left it at 10 out of 10. You didn't get notified when I manually reviewed and graded it. So with the manual score release, you'll basically see when I grade it, and I will explain the quirk with how Canvas treats that communication from LTI tools. So again, I can go in, look at that. It hasn't been graded yet. So I think what I'm gonna do is, so I can look at it there. I can also do it here. I think it's basically the same thing. And if you realize you need to add more work, then sure, you can go in and add work this way. I think you can actually do it after I grade it too, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So let me go in as an instructor on MyOpenMath and grade this test submission from test student. So going in as instructor, and I have to actually, let me look. So some of your classmates might have made a submission. We'll see. So I think I can actually just do it on screen here. So because hopefully none of your classmates answered it, and the names that'll show, that's not a private information for people who are here. And for the YouTube version, I'll just blur out the names somehow. So I'm gonna go to grades. Hopefully no one other than the test student answered it. Yeah, some people answered it. Those will be getting deleted, but I don't think anyone finished answering it, which is great. Let me go into test student record, and I can all see that. And test student didn't have access to the answers. I don't know why this is a highlight, but all of this is fine, I think. Here, so I can grade it this way. So I'm gonna say add feedback. Since there isn't a good faith effort answer here, I'm assigning a score of 0. Now, especially first few weeks of the semester, if I see something like a fixable error here, I might extend an invitation. Like, if you want to fix this, let me know, then I will regrade it. So here, now you can't change the answer. You don't have any more attempts, or test student doesn't have any more attempts, but I can say I'm assigning a score of 0. But if you want to give a good faith answer to this question as an attached work, please do that and notify me, and I'll regrade this item. And I ask you to, whenever I have this invitation extended, I ask you to notify me, because I don't get any automatic notification when the attached work changes. So if you're changing the attached work, you have to let me know that there's something for me to look at. And so, and I think the reason I set the grade release setting for this to be manual is so that as I grade, you get notified. So hopefully there will be a kind of reminder for you to come look for this feedback, and if there's anything that you want to do, then you have notification to do it. Okay, question 2. I will, they are correct. Attach the work. It's at least good enough for me to accept. I'll accept it. So I'll say looks so good and see Q1 feedback above. So that's my manual grading process, which you saw in the other demo. But this time, I'll be able to better demonstrate all the timestamp information, which one's correct, what each of those means. So I'm going to release grade to student on save and save it. Now, when I'm actually grading your submissions, as I'm grading, I'm not really releasing it. I do the release all together at the end when I'm done with that batch of the items. So here, I'm gonna save changes. And when I was testing this out with my other class, it took a minute or so for this information to get transmitted to Canvas. So here on my part, scoring gradebook, it's been released, released to the student. And when I go back and look at this as test to student, then I can see that so Canvas hasn't, I think, received the updated information, but within MyOpenMath, I can see that this is my score. I can see all this, and for the Canvas version of the information, I'll have to wait for this to be transmitted to Canvas. So right now, if I look at the gradebook, look for this thing. Right now, there's no grade here. You can put in a what if score. What if I got a 5? And there are instructors who are bothered by this what if feature, because I don't know. This looks like, yeah, I mean, I feel like there should be some indicator somewhere that this is not the real score when you are, like, you're not grading yourself here. Whatever score you put in is not a real score. So I don't. But ultimately it doesn't matter. And now I see that the grade information from MyOpenMath has been transmitted to Canvas. That's great. Now, so this is the bit that I can understand the people being confused. And this is the demo that I want to do again next semester, just separating out demo into 2 parts. One, as test student, week 1, I will do question set 1 assessment, and I won't grade it at that session, because me grading it during the session, I think basically made this not as useful of information for you. And in week 2, during the session, I will grade it, and I can demonstrate the different timestamps and all that. So, here it says it was submitted at 2:16 p.m., that it's late, and all of that is wrong, because one test student submitted it yesterday on time, and so really I think the one screen that'll contain everything in a way where it's in a way where you can see all the different numbers, timestamps, and kind of sort that out, is within the modules, the regular assignment view. I can get to that screen by clicking this, because this test only assignment, it's not in modules. So within this screen, I can point out a couple different timestamps. So the time at which you submitted your work, that is kept here. MyOpenMath keeps a record of your scored attempts. There should be only one. So I submitted it yesterday, Thursday, at 9:41 p.m. That's when I was setting up all this stuff for testing. That's when I submitted it. It's correctly recorded here. And if it ever matters, did you submit it on time? Then this is the information that I would go by. And you can take a screenshot. You can keep that as your record. That's when you actually submitted it. And the information that Canvas shows here, if anything, this actually gives you more information than you used to have. This is the time at which I graded it. So if I'm ever late on grading your question set assessments, then you will be able to see later and say, oh, that's when I see you graded it. And so normally if I'm on time, I should be grading this on Tuesday, hopefully in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. If I'm super late, I might do it on Wednesday. If I'm really, really late, maybe. But this time shows when I graded it. So it'll always be late because I don't grade it before the due date. So this time will always be after the due date, and so just to understand that this timestamp, it's not when you submitted it. Now Canvas might think that, but I don't think that, and you can always use the information in MyOpenMath to counter. Yeah, that's the correct time. The time that Canvas thinks you submitted is actually the time when I, as the instructor, graded this the first time. I think when I regrade, I don't think this time gets updated. I don't know when that happens. We'll see. So yeah, that's what I wanted to demonstrate. Again, in a future semester, I will kind of do this as a two-parter demo so that it's all properly shown. So let me actually delete this assignment so that as few people as possible are confused. Because I can see, you know, people might have got a notification and all that. There might be links here and there. I thought maybe I couldn't delete it, but because I can't unpublish when there's student submission, but I could delete it for my other class earlier. So let me delete it. Yeah, so hopefully as few people as possible will be confused. So